Hello, and welcome. I don't expect anyone's going to join live for this session today because it's popping up into your world at a random time, but I'm going to share it anyway. I'm going to share it now. And gosh, I've had like kind of a hectic day. I've been on lots of calls and lots of things all day, and technology has been a bit funny, and I didn't eat my lunch at the right time. So everything's been a bit off kilter. So today's session is the off kilter session. That's its title. And so, it's also Friday. And sometimes, we have this idea of winding down from a week with like a glass of wine or all these things. And so this one is like an alternative way to wind down from your week. And yeah, hopefully it feels really good. So the first thing I'd like you to do is just to rub your hands together. And as you're rubbing your hands together, look at your hands. And you can listen as well to the sound. You might feel some bumps and ridges in your skin. You might hear the sound of your rings or feel the outsides of your fingers touching each other. Let's just keep going with this a little bit longer. And if you're comfortable to close your eyes, get even more interested in what do you notice? What do you feel? Maybe you feel shapes or textures or temperatures. And now as you're rubbing your hands, can you also notice yourself breathing? So hands are rubbing, breath is coming in, breath is coming out. We'll give that another few moments. And then next, can you track any other sensations in your body? So I feel my elbows actually touching my ribs, and there's a little, my arms, my forearms are touching my body. I also can feel my legs crossed, my knees on the floor, my weight on my cushion, my tummy rumbling, my hands rubbing. Take a breath in and then a slow breath out. And now let your hands separate just a little bit and track the sensation in your hands. Sometimes it feels a bit like a kind of wave or a tingle or magnet. And how does the sensation in your hands change over time? Okay, good. Let's take the hands and put them onto the side of your body, side and front if possible, or side and back, whatever feels good to you. And take a few breaths. So now our awareness is on the movement in the ribs. And as you take a few breaths, you might feel your shape changing, your volume changing. You might feel something changing in the tone in your body, softer at one point, firmer at another. There's nothing right or wrong about either, by the way. Maybe move your hands a little bit down, more towards belly. I have one hand on rib, one hand on belly, but it could be whatever. Breath in and breath out. Do you notice movement, shape change, tone change? And then take your hands away and feel your breath on both sides. How is it different? How is it the same? Okay, good. Let's take the hands on the opposite side, so onto the sides of your ribs. Breath in, breath out. Do you feel movement? Where do you feel movement? Do you feel a change of tone or a change of shape? Let your hands move to the next place. You know, you're always free to move your hands whenever you feel, if they get tired or whatever. And move your hands one more time. And then take your hands away and take a few breaths. Notice if anything's changed in your body or your mind. Okay, good. So our breathing system is, there's a muscle that's the primary mover. My brain went into my body and then I couldn't speak. So that was my change. So anyway, your breathing system has a single muscle. It's called the diaphragm, and it's a rounded muscle connected to the inside of your ribs all the way around. So if you'd like to, you can touch your ribs all the way around. And as you'll feel, the ribs are quite a bit lower in the back, sides, and then higher in the front. And there's kind of a peak, mine's sort of in between my breasts, but peak where the bottom of the sternum is. So there's an angle there, and then your ribs, and go around. So the diaphragm is attached to this whole area, but it comes up to about your fifth rib, okay? And your fifth rib, counting ribs is not my favorite thing to do, but fifth rib is kind of for some people, it's kind of nipple height. So that's one way to think about it, is kind of, if you are a person who wears a bra, right, it would be just kind of above where your bra strap is. If you aren't a person who wears a bra, your nipples might be near around where your fifth rib is, but that's quite a bit higher than most people experience their diaphragm. So the diaphragm touches the bottom of the ribs, but then goes all the way up to the fifth rib height. So just like make that shape. So it's pretty steep hill there. Yeah. And the diaphragm from this height, when you breathe in, it goes down. So you breathe in, diaphragm moves down. And when you breathe out, diaphragm comes up. Yeah, breathe in. So I'm putting my hands here and kind of miming. Diaphragm goes down. Diaphragm goes up. Now, if you take too deep of a breath, you might get a kind of, right? And that might not be super calming. So you don't have to take a super deep breath. The next thing to say is I'm noticing in myself that I feel a little resistance. I feel like I'm not able to move too much with my hands. So I want to show you, if my arms are like this and my diaphragm moves down, my elbows go wide, right? My elbows represent the ribs. So what you could do is have one hand on your or miming your diaphragm, one hand on your rib, and as you go down, the ribs go out and up, and as you breathe out, the ribs come down, the diaphragm comes up. So just play with that a few times. And just, be sure to try both sides, imagining both sides of your ribs. And if you can, especially the hand that's miming your ribs, let it really track to the movement that you feel. And so I'm not trying to lift my arm way up if that's not where my ribs go. So just feeling the movement. So you can stay with that if you like, or put one hand on your belly or in front of your belly. And so as you breathe in, diaphragm goes down, belly goes a little bit out. It fills out. And then as you breathe out, the belly softens in and the diaphragm goes up. So there's a relationship there. I'm going to just move it up a little higher so you can see it. Right, so one hand, the belly hand is kind of moving forward as the diaphragm moves down. And then moving into the body as the diaphragm moves up. So just play with that a few times. And then take your hands away, let them rest, and just take a few more breaths. These do not have to be super deep breaths. Let them be quiet and steady, and just notice how your body or your mind has changed. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So these are two tools that I use very often for myself when I'm feeling a bit aroused, scatty, anxious, whatever. The first one is the hand rubbing and the tuning into the sensations of my hand rubbing. And I find that one is helpful because it is a very tangible sensation that I can really attune to. Yeah, and the second one is hands on ribs and breathing, or hands on belly, hands on body and breathing. And it does really help to imagine the diaphragm going down. Sometimes when we breathe in and we're anxious, we kind of go, we kind of go up. And so this idea of breathing and moving down, but with space, can give us more sense of the depth of our breath, of the peacefulness of the breath. Yeah, and something to attune ourselves to as we practice, connect, refresh ourselves through this breathing. So just take one last moment. You can put your hands on your body if you like or not. And take a last 3 breaths. Visualizing or imagining your diaphragm moving down and up. And with that, we will finish our practice for today. So have a very lovely day. I hope you have a calm, steady, and energized rest of your day. Take care.